What's up, everybody on YouTube? Thank you for being here. I'm just launching the Facebook too with the double stream. Thank you guys so much for being here. Appreciate you. God bless you. Hope you're having a good week. And I have probably one of my better live streams that I've had in a while today. Here, I'm going to just slide this real quick out of the way. It's kind of in my face for the Facebook live stream, but I want to talk about obviously the impeachment nonsense. It's just like they can't let Trump leave. They just keep bringing it back for ratings and people's attention. And there's a lot of stuff that is covering up, but most importantly, perhaps, is just moving the goalposts further, kicking the can down the road, and really ignoring what we've talked about a lot here, which is just a year of economic restriction, a year of liberty and freedom restriction, and something that neither party really seems to have a plan for. And this is kind of their trick. I'm going to go through all the ways that they do it through social justice, environmentalism, racial tension and division disguised as activism. And it's a strategy they've been doing for 100 years. So people can't hone in on what's actually going on, because and I have a lot of historical examples today. Like I'll just give you guys an example as it's going in, as you guys are coming in. I watched Ronald Reagan versus Walter Mondale. They had a debate, years ago. And I just watched it just for historical reference. And they were actually talking about taxes and liberty and all this stuff that people just don't even care about anymore. And why don't people care about how much money they pay to the government? Why don't people care about their freedom slipping away? Why don't people care about the fact that they're pretty much being enslaved? And when I say that, I don't mean it, symbolically, or I'm just going to look up the definition real quick, because I have to operate in this way because they're always looking for a reason to try to frame it out of context. But this is what the word enslave means. It means cause someone to lose their freedom of choice or action. That's dictionary definition. This is not my interpretation of it. This is what the word means. Cause somebody to lose their freedom of choice or action. That's what's happened over the last year and a half. And this is how they've done it. Over the last 30, 40 years, they've pumped all this social justice. They've pumped all this division and all these other fringe causes and just made it the whole spiel, to the point where it doesn't matter if you're Black, Hispanic, white, Asian, whatever you are. Nobody has their eyes on what is being stripped from all of us. So they're using impeachment as a distraction. They've had distractions all last year. We're going to talk about it. And it seems like over the last 30, 40, 50 years, that's what they've been doing. So I have a good live stream for you guys today. Hopefully some people come in, and I appreciate you for being here. As everyone's coming in, I'll do some shout outs. Thank you for being here. Eric, Gwendolyn, everybody on YouTube. A few updates real quick. First update is USA Products Only. I'm going through a lot of the businesses. If you've been there, usaproductsonly.com. We're adding businesses every day now. I think we have about 10, 15 added. We're going to add 30, 40, 50, 60. So many cool pet businesses, woodworking. It's really a blast going over your businesses that you guys sent me and seeing what great work you're doing. So keep an eye out for an email. If you emailed us, we're going to email everyone back in due time. But if you haven't checked out, go to USA Products Only. We're adding more and more businesses, and it's great. People already are emailing us telling me they got 3 sales, 4 sales, 5 sales. So we're generating revenue for a lot of small businesses that follow me, and you guys keep 100% of the profit. And also, I'm going to do a video section. I have like videos of the week. I'm going to update that later today and get 10 videos, including some of the ones I'm talking about here today. So pretty cool stuff. I'm pretty pumped about that. And also, Dream Rare Chat is the name of, if you search it, you should be able to find it in Telegram, or just click the link. It's in the bio of both of these videos. The reason being is because Telegram is pretty convenient, and it looks like they might crack down on Facebook again. I'm not sure. They might change the algorithm again soon. Hopefully not, but Telegram, t.me/DreamRareChat is an easy way to get updates about my live stream, so you know when I'm going live. And also just get my videos, because that's like a direct shoot of getting the videos. It's pretty convenient, because what they're doing is they're rigging all social media and media to cut down on people who disagree with them and boost up people who agree with them. And I watched a little Trevor Noah bit the other day, and it's crazy how they're able to just make Biden, like, he's passed more executive orders than most presidents in his first couple weeks, and a lot of them are very sketchy. But Trevor Noah paints this picture of like, oh, Joe Biden's just this innocent guy, and these crazy right wingers, and like, he just gives such stupid examples. It reminds me of when I was a kid and I used to believe that stuff, and that's how they do it. I mean, they get all of these late night hosts to say the same exact thing. So that's all you know. You listen to Jon Stewart, you listen to Colbert, Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon, Trevor Noah, and they just keep repeating the same thing over and over and over again. That's why social media has been so great. And that's why they're so upset, because when people do have freedom to decide what they want to watch, usually they don't watch these mainstream type people. So thanks for being here. The impeachment, it's crazy to me, just to start off. Thanks for being here. It's crazy to me. I haven't even watched it. I guess I tuned in for like 30 seconds the other day, but it's so nuts how the election never ended, and I said this in December and January, and it's, what is it now, February 10th. They have this scheme to never actually let you focus on what's going on. Because if both parties, left wing, right wing, progressive, whatever you want to call your conservative, the populism in America, the people that don't really like Biden or the McCain type establishment, if they ever get a week or two to actually think for themselves and really look at what's going on, a lot of times these sides come together. And if you get people like myself and Jimmy Dore in the same room, chances are we actually agree on a lot, and we disagree on some things, but we're, better people. I mean, not to boast ourselves, but, than these people in Congress. We actually think we want to help, or we're trying to help. So we'd actually get along. And you saw that with the Wall Street situation I was pumped about. You had both parties kind of, trying to challenge Wall Street. And then, of course, you have this. And then you had both parties saying that $600 is a joke when you're sending billions of dollars overseas. So anytime we get to just calm down and we don't have a George Floyd situation or impeachment, chances are both parties are going to realize they're not that different. We all bleed red blood. We all live in America. We all want the same things: peace, prosperity, no hatred, no violence, just we want to live, and people want to take care of their families. Most people are pretty the same, but they can't let you know that. So they have unlimited schemes and tricks, and we're going to go through that today. And one of them is this impeachment. If you follow my page all last year, I kept trying to talk about the lockdowns. Why did I want to talk about the lockdowns? Am I mean? Am I trying to hurt grandma? Of course not. It's because this is the biggest bamboozle of the world, and especially America, I've ever seen in my lifetime. This is a dream of anybody that hates America, to destroy the economy. And the crazy part is, now when I talk about the economy, it goes over most people's heads because we've been dumbed down. But if you talk to people in the 80s, the 70s, this is like all they cared about. The whole debate was about economy, because people want to feed their family. They don't want inflation. They don't want a job market where they can't find a job. Without a good economy, you don't have a good country. Without a prosperous country, you don't have success. There's a lot of countries that wish they could be America, in the sense of we have liberty and freedom and prosperity and wealth in some cases that other countries could only dream of. So if you take that out of America, the rest of the country is going to fall by the wayside. But even talking about that, 30 years, 40, 50 years of communist propaganda, that goes over people's heads. People don't even think about the economy. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if our country doesn't run. It doesn't matter if China's operating at almost full capacity and we're operating at a quarter capacity. That doesn't matter. Of course it matters. It matters almost more than most other issues. Of course, health matters too, but it's like, yeah, it's a big deal. March, April, and every time I tried to talk about it, I got backlash, not just from the left wing. Thank you, Toasty J, for the super chat. I'll get to those later. So if you give me one now, I can't read them. I don't want to be distracted. But every time I tried to talk about it, both parties didn't really want to hear about it. It was very bizarre to me because I'm pretty chill for the most part. And I'm like sitting here, and I said it in April, and the left wing says, "Oh my God, that's so anti-scientific." What? And then the right wing's like, no, Trump has a plan. No anomaly. Just wait. So I'm like, wait? Are you kidding? Wait for your freedom to come back? It's never going to come back. What are you talking about? It's April, 15 days to slow the spread. Trump extended it. It was a 50-state, basically full lockdown. Wait? Okay, let's wait. So then I wait till May and June brings the George Floyd situation. Just the perfect divisive situation for the country. It's terrible that it happened for all reasons: social, George Floyd, his family, all that stuff. But the footage, and then the riots, and then the whole media was covering that. Billions of dollars being funneled through Act Blue to progressive causes. All sorts of changes socially. I mean, the NBA adopts now this Black Lives Matter, which is a pretty much openly admitted trained Marxists who were trained by some pretty wicked people in the Weather Underground. You can look up that stuff. But anyway, so it changes our whole society for 2 months. You can't even get a word in about the lockdowns because it's all about the George Floyd riots and protests. Isn't that just crazy timing? So May through July, I can't say anything because it's all defense. I got people hitting me up from college I haven't talked about saying, man, I really like, they're feeling all sorts of crazy. They feel like Martin Luther King, race doesn't matter to me, but I'm just saying like a skinny white dude I haven't talked to since high school and college is like, man, I'm like, bro, you haven't talked to me in 10 years. George Floyd situation happens. You watch MSNBC and somebody patted you on the back and told you were MLK. I have a dream too. And in my dream, it says, go back to posting beer pong pictures, bro. You're not that special. It's like people got real buggy. So for 2 months, conservatives were on the defense a little bit because of all these social tensions and stuff. So, okay, you can't talk about the lockdown and the economic destruction and the freedom and liberty destruction from July through May. So that's now 5 months that you can't talk about it. Nobody wants to talk about it. And then after that, it's like August. And I'm saying, hey guys, it's time to really look at these lockdowns. Listen, I voted for Trump, or I'm going to vote for Trump rather, because the first time I actually didn't. I voted third party. But anyway, I'm going to vote for Trump. I've supported Trump. I've got millions of people to, see him in a different light. However, I don't care that he's president or like the fact that we're losing all this stuff and he doesn't seem to have an answer for it. I want to address it. I want to bring it to him, to Newsom, to Murphy, to Cuomo. I don't care who, to DeSantis, even him. He's doing the best job, I think. But 25% capacity, in my opinion, is not that impressive. I think he's doing great, but it's like, this is the game of the Democrats. They fly off the handles. Republicans go with them a little bit, and then they just can slightly resist what they're doing. So the Republican of today is worse than the Democrat of 5 years ago. That's the trick. So I'm like, this isn't impressive to me. I like Ron DeSantis, but you get what I'm saying? The Republicans they can't conserve anything because they're always just following the Democrats and slightly resisting to become a worse version of what they were a couple years ago. So anyway, I tried to talk about it in August, and people told me, Anomaly, just wait till the election. Don't talk about the lockdowns now. Don't talk about the biggest, in my opinion, slave scheme of the modern century. And when I say slave, look up what the word slave and enslave means. It means to lose freedom, to lose choice. That's what's happening. We don't have it's not optional. None of this is optional. So anyway, okay, the election comes. I say, okay, I guess I just got to wait till the election, whatever. Okay, November. What do you know? The election doesn't end. Isn't that interesting? This is when I start to tell people it's starting to feel like theater to me. I know a lot of people that watch my channel like Trump. I like Trump, but I didn't run in circles around him from November to January because it just started seeming very fake to me. It started seeming very scripted. He's saying the same 2-3 things like a pull string jaw, Moderna, this, Moderna, running in circles. Everyone's running in circles. I'm like, I'm not playing, which is crazy because I still got tied into the Capitol thing, even though I have nothing to do with it. That's how crazy they're getting with this. They're trying to act like it's, the greatest thing of the 21st century and everybody who likes Trump was involved. But anyway, it's like I started realizing I'm like, this election's never ending. I can't talk about the lockdown in March. I can't talk about it in June. I can't talk about it in November. Now I have to wait till January because no Trump supporters want to hear about the lockdown that's restricting our country. This is nuts. So I just pretty much tuned out and I told people this. And then January comes and people told me, hey, just wait till the 6th. On the 6th, Mike Pence is going to overturn the election. And to the disdain of a lot of people who follow me, I said, you think Mike Pence can overturn the election? Lynn Wood's like, oh man, he should face execution firing squad for not overturning you think the vice president can overturn the election? Who told you this? Oh, it was used hundreds of years ago. And you think Mike Pence is going to do it? I knew it wasn't going to happen. I didn't go to the Capitol. I didn't want to go to the Capitol. And then January 6th happens and it's a total mess. And then people tell me, just wait for January 20th. Trump's going to make a move before January 20th. And then January 20th comes. And what do you know? It's just never over. The people on the right, there's a bunch of people who say, ooh, Trump's going to come back in June or May. And there's a secret second constitution. But buy my EMF products. I'll protect you from the radiation if you believe with me. It's like, okay. And now the Democrats have impeachment. So the point I'm trying to get to is it never ends. The election has been an election. What is it going to last for 3 years? Of course it is, because it's the perfect distraction to make the left and the right never look at what's going on. It's another communist tactic to kick the can down the road, destroy the country, gut it out from left to right, Democrat to Republican. No one has a solution for it. Even Kristi Noem and Governor DeSantis can only do so much because they don't have enough power over mayors or over corporations or over Disney. They're pretty much powerless. So this is what I'm talking about. It's been a year and a half of don't talk about it. And this is not a new tactic, although what they're doing is new. This is how communists operate. And when I say communism, you have to understand, I'm not talking like other people who don't know what it is, or I've read the book. I fully understand it now. And communism is, whether they want to admit it or not, the consolidation of power. Karl Marx had a dream like Martin Luther King, except his was very different. His was total power, total consolidation of transportation, media, banking, communication into the hands of the state. What happens when the state has total control over communication? What happens when the state has total control over transportation? What do people think happens when the state has total control over banking and total control over property? You don't have private property, because Karl Marx said you don't deserve private property because, I don't know, he fooled working people into thinking that worked for them. So it's outlandish. He wanted total control. And when big brother government owns and controls everything, you have no freedom of speech, you have no liberty, you have no property, you have no anything. You're a slave now. That's communism. It's by design. It's in the book. If people think socialism or communism is something else because they listen to Jimmy Dore or Kyle Kalinske, I promise you, read with an open mind, use your common sense, and don't believe me or them. Read the Communist Manifesto and ask yourself, would big brother government getting control of transportation, media, and banking lead to your freedom or your workers' rights? Of course not. It never will. It never worked. It never works because it's not supposed to work. It's a scheme from the bankers and the bigwigs to convince working people to give up all their freedom and liberty. And how do they do it? Because if people knew what they were doing, they wouldn't buy. Why would they want to give 40%, 50% of their money to government? Why would they want to give up their private property? Why would they want to give up their freedom? This is the plan, and this is the trap that they've been doing for over a century now, is use racial tension and racial division. Because if people are fighting black and white, they're never going to be American versus people trying to take their freedom away. It's never going to work. So the black versus white, especially in America, because we're so diverse, is the perfect scheme. And that's what they've been doing for over 100 years. I've said it a bunch of times, but one of the best books I've read in the last year and a half, thank you, G. Edward Griffin, for referring it via video from like 1969, was Color, Communism, and Common Sense by Manning Johnson. Manning Johnson was a black communist. He was an American. I think he was a Christian or a Catholic, but he joined the Communist Party for a while. And he got to pretty high ranks because they told him, communism's for the black man. Communism's for the working man. So he knew all about communism. He defected. He left. And then he wrote all about it. And he said, this is like 100 years ago. He said the communists, I wish I do actually have it here. He said the communists use racial division to divide people and do all sorts of crazy stuff. I'll just read a passage right here. This is from chapter 3. He said, stirring up race and class conflict is the basis of all the discussion in the Communist Party work in the South. He said the evil genius Stalin and the other megalomaniacal leaders in Moscow ordered the use of all racial, economic, and social differences, no matter how small or insignificant, to start local fires of discontent, conflict, and revolt. He also said that they were going into black churches. He said what they would do is create doubt, lack of confidence, suspicion, setting up situations that bring about racial bitterness, violence, and conflict, putting forth demands so unrealistic that race relations worsened, attacking everybody in disagreement as reactionaries, fascists, and Ku Kluxers among whites and Uncle Toms among blacks. This is what he said. When was this book written? I got to see real quick. I think in 1940 something. I don't know, 1958. So they've been doing this for a century now, guys. They said anybody who disagrees with us is a KKK or a fascist. This is the communist plan. You're a fascist. You're a fascist. They punch you, and when you try to defend yourself, they scream Nazi and fascist. Oh no! It's like, no, leave us alone. They've been doing it. It's been their plan. So when they do this George Floyd stuff, or when they do this now pandemic stuff, this is why the Pitbull video went so viral. Yes, there's a virus. Yes, I think COVID-19 is real. Yes, I know people who've gotten it and they lose their taste. Some people get sick for weeks. It's a very strange virus. I don't want anybody to get it for many reasons. But does that mean the state should shut down private property? Does that mean the state should overload landowners and people who own property to the point where they're going to eventually lose everything because people don't have to pay rent? Is that an excuse for 40% inflation, which is of course going to, screw up the supply and demand in the country? Is that an excuse to wipe out 100,000 businesses? Is that an excuse to start pushing for Karl Marx's transportation control? Is that an excuse for more censorship? Is that Of course not. They're just implementing the Communist Manifesto, which is the total consolidation of power, big brother government. Some people consider it a global single party that tries to operate everything using big tech and such, whatever you want to say. That's what they're doing. They're using the virus as an excuse to justify these means. And the next thing that they're going to do is use climate change because it's another invisible enemy. Trump even said invisible enemy, and everyone got so excited because they're like, oh man, he's talking about the deep state. Like, no, he's not. He's talking about the virus, but it's a propaganda term because you can't see it. Yes, COVID is an enemy you can't see. I get what he's saying, but what a perfect excuse. Now they could take away everything from you, destroy your life, and treat you like a prisoner and a slave over something you can't even see. And you guys submitted to it. Not you. Everyone did, I guess. You know, I didn't want to. I didn't really, but when enough people do, it affects me, and I don't really have a say, unfortunately. So what are they going to do next? Climate change, another invisible enemy. You could see it just as much as you could see COVID. You could see someone get sick, so it's COVID. You could see the weather change, so it's climate change. It's the same type of invisible enemy. You can't really see it, but you can kind of see parts of it. So what an excuse. I mean, ignore the fact that, you know, people like Al Gore and others have been falsely predicting for decades now because they don't know what they're talking about. Ignore all common sense and reason, including, I almost finished it. I was reading it today. Another book that I read that's fantastic is How to Lie with Statistics. Actually, if you don't mind, give me 1 second. I'm going to grab it because there's a Bill Gates quote at the top, and I find it very funny. Hold on 1 second. Sorry. I should have had it here, but it's on my kitchen table. I apologize. So this is the book, How to Lie with Statistics. I'm almost done with it. I read another chapter today. I'm on like the last chapter. The top, I think you guys can see it here. You see the Bill Gates quote. Sorry, on Facebook, I know it's inverted, so you can't see it. But it has a quote from Bill Gates because he recommended this book. It says, a great introduction to the use of statistics and a great refresher for anybody who's already well versed in it. So he says it's a great introduction to the use of statistics. The book is about lying with statistics. The whole book is about how to lie with statistics, how to mislead. Everyone does it. The government, commercials, pediatricians, they all lie with statistics, and it breaks it down. And Bill Gates says, oh, this is a great refresher on how to use statistics. He uses it by lying with them. You can make a chart to scare Trump. Whoa, this millions of people can die. Is it true? Of course not. It's just a prediction. It's a bad prediction. They suck at predicting because they're not trying to predict. They're trying to program. And this is not a theory. This is not a conspiracy theory. There's a whole book about it that Bill Gates told people to read. And, they said it was a 3.4 death rate in March. I knew that. I made a video that day and I said, it doesn't even make sense. They're doing the division. It's a math equation. It's, cases divided by people who got tested, or I'm sorry, people who died divided by people who got a positive test, or the other way around. People got a positive test divided by people who died. But if you're not testing everybody, the number is going to be, it's 3.4 because we've only tested a couple thousand people and this many people died. Yeah, but what happens if you test 10 million people and then you start getting asymptomatic cases and you start adding those to the list? Yeah, the death rate goes down. That was always obvious, but the goal was not to inform you on how deadly this virus was or not. The goal was to scare the crap out of you, to shut your economy down, to hide in your house, to justify slavery and essentially a communism when you shut down all industries, but certain industries can go. That was the goal. That's what they're doing. It's so obvious. And this is the game that they're going to play. So what is impeachment? Impeachment's just a perfect way to drag out an election that was already dragged out for 3 months and drag it out for 5 months and 6 months. And as soon as that ends, they'll have a new thing. Because the second that they stop dividing people by race, the second that they stop screeching and screaming over fake environmentalism, I'm a real environmentalist. Clean the air, clean the water, clean the oceans. And if there's some sort of drastic climate change that we can solve, be honest about it and figure out how we could change our production to solve it. But the problem is, once again, they're doing exactly what the Bill Gates book said. Well, it's really by Daryl Huff, but Bill Gates had to read it. How to Lie with Statistics. The climate change situation is nothing but that. So what are they doing? They're polluting the crap out of the oceans with all of these masks. These masks are going to be all over the place. You're just wearing a mask. This is science. This is environmentalism to these people. Wearing a mask for 5 seconds when you sit down at a table and then taking it off. Are you kidding me? I refuse to do it. My friends get mad at me. Dude, just wear the mask for 5 seconds. I'm not a slave. If it makes scientific sense, I'll do it. On an airplane, I have no choice and I want to fly, so I do it. But in general, you want me to and then sit down and take it off? That's embarrassing. And then it gets dirty. You take it off, you put it back on. It's more of a con than a pro. And I actually am kind of a germaphobe. So I find it disgusting putting a little thing in front of my nose and my mouth. It's gross. But in general, you're just polluting the crap out of the oceans. Nothing that they say makes sense. Now today, the CDC, after Fauci just said a couple weeks ago, he said there is no science to back up the double masking. Now, all of a sudden there is. Isn't that interesting? Now the CDC, puts out that, wearing a double mask just like this is actually, we recommend it. Okay, if that was the case, we've had, a century now to study masks and how they work. Why would you put on two masks? Why wouldn't you just have one mask that's 2 times as thick? Because if they were any thicker, it becomes harder to breathe. And even the CDC admits that. So at what point are you just suffocating people? At what point is it anti-scientific? If that's the science of 2 masks, then why hasn't somebody invented a mask that's just 2 times the size? If it's thickness, 2 times as thick. If it's length, 2 times as length. If it's a little bit on the edge because you're putting the 2 masks, just make 1 mask in the case of 2. But they're polluting the crap out of the oceans with their fake pseudoscience because they're just kicking the can down the road and just winging it. And it's that easy to lie with statistics. What study did they do? Look up the study they did. I think it was a mannequin study or something. I'm not sure. Just from light reading, I have to further look into it if I really want to talk about it. But it's that easy. You do one study, you come to the conclusion. Did you test it 1,000 times, blind placebo? Did you do it with a group of 100,000 people? Or did you just do a little crappy study one time and say, yeah, we've determined that in some ways it helps, but in other ways it might block your breathing? Then build 1 mask instead of 2. So that's the type of environmentalism they do, is destroy the oceans, completely pollute. If you can't take care of yourself, you can't change the world. That's why people like Gandhi said, change yourself to change the world. It's the best advice ever. Okay, Los Angeles, change yourself to change the world. Are your oceans clean? No. Is your street clean? No. San Francisco, Silicon Valley, is your ocean clean? Is your streets clean? Is your city clean? No. How in the world are you going to clean the world if you can't even clean your own neighborhood? How are you going to run the country if you can't even run your own city? Even progressives and liberals are trying to recall Gavin Newsom. Nobody wants him there because everybody knows all the cities are going to crap. So, they talk about pollution and carbon, but they don't care about Africa. They don't care about the polluted rivers, the most polluted rivers in the world. They don't care about India. They don't seem to really talk about China that much because it's not real environmentalism. It's not real science. It's anti-America, anti-West, anti-capitalism, pro-communism, in some cases, anti-Christian and anti-white as well. They care more about race and they care more about religion and they care more about pointing it towards then, hey, let's all do this on a world scale, right? If we're going to do it, let's get India and China to do it. How come they're not so mouthy about that? Because it's all a sick little joke to them. It's the same thing with the George Floyd stuff. Do you really want to save Black neighborhoods, or do you want to just throw a fit, take a cop thing out of context, 2 months later, show people the footage and show how he acted? But now it's too late. They just burned down 10 cities, most of which have a Black population. How is burning down a Black business going to save a Black neighborhood? How is treating it like that? Now business leaves. Now people want to move out. Now the value goes down. Now everybody who owns property there are poor. They don't care. They're going to come in one of these tech companies and just buy it all up, or the government's going to take over where you left off. They're not helping Black people. They're using and exploiting Black pain and Black activism for the goal of total consolidation of power. And they've been doing it for 100 years. And that's what impeachment is. It's just another show. It's just another theater spectacle. As to be quite frank, I think Trump's whole little act from November to January was a spectacle too. I know people don't want to think that because they really like him. But if you listen to what Giuliani and Sidney Powell said, and then you read their court cases, I'm not so sure they were saying publicly the same things that they were filing, because the things they were filing were things that they had proof of. The things that they were saying were things that they thought. But now that they're going to go to court with Dominion, you'll find out how legit they are. If they have the proof that they said they have discovery now. They'll be able to use it. But you might have just got played. I know people don't want to hear that. Do I think the election was sketchy? Of course, obviously. I mean, who doesn't? But you get what I'm saying? They dance in circles for 3 months. Everybody runs in circles. They tell you to go to an event. You go to the event, and everybody at the event gets wiped out. And this is what they've been doing also in these type of things. If you look at the Armenian genocide, one of the things that they did is they got all the leaders and the religious leaders and the people who would probably be against it. They took them out. and that's how you kneecap a movement, is you get all their strong leaders together and take them out. And what was the sixth? They got all the strong right-wing leaders to go to an event, set them up, and then they all got treated like terrorists, and some of them got arrested. And even me, I mentioned it the other day, but I'm getting interrogated as if I have something to do with it from a high level. I have nothing to do with it. I wasn't at the sixth. I wasn't in Washington. I told people it was a dumb idea for months, but now they're trying to say, well, do you know something about it? I don't know anything about it. I just have 600 million views, and, I'm connected to a lot of people via, I don't know, I just do a lot of work, and I take a lot of pictures when I go to events and stuff. So yeah, I know people in the sense of, them on social media and such, but I have nothing to do with this event. They're trying to tie me into it now. And I was openly vocal about how much I didn't like it, but this just seems like another ploy to take out all of the leaders that would oppose the lockdowns and oppose communism and oppose the tyrannical policies that Joe Biden's implementing. And what a perfect event to destroy the right wing. So I'm not convinced that we weren't set up the whole time. I mean, I didn't go to the event, but it smelled like a setup to me. It smelled like a fake theater. And now the fake theater continues for the next 3 months with this impeachment or whatever they have next. It's a total joke. The communists are masters at running people's heads in circles, including the right wing. It's not just the left wing, obviously the left wing, but even the right wing. You're running circles around Trump. You're running circles around impeachment. You're running circles around the election. What about the lockdown? What about the bipartisan lockdown that every governor and President Trump implemented in March and extended through April and May? What about that? What about the fact that no Republican, not even DeSantis, no matter how good he is, he can only be a shell of what he once was? This is how the left wing wins. They go off the deep end. Everybody follows them a little bit, takes 10 steps to the left, and then pushes back and say, no, I'm not going to do it. But is Florida free? I mean, Florida's better than California in business, taxes, and everything, but is it maybe not weather and beaches, but that's up to your opinion. But in general, DeSantis is just a shell of what Florida once was. This is not some sort of revolutionary thing he's doing in Florida. You still have masks everywhere. You still have capacity limits. You still have, big corporate enterprise enforcing tyrannical policies that are not optional. So you get what I'm saying? I'm not knocking DeSantis. I think he's a good governor, but the best of the best of the Republicans can only be a shell of what Republicans and Democrats were 5 years ago. There has to be some sort of, resistance that makes some sort of sense. And the new trap that they're doing now is they're trying to say words cause violence. So now your free speech is not only under question. If you question the CDC, you can't do that. I got censored on Facebook. I'll keep it brief, but they're bringing back old censors from last year, probably to take my page out again. And I posted the CDC. It's literally a direct CDC quote from the CDC with the CDC article. And they're like, well, technically that's not true. It's like, okay, I can't even post the CDC or NBC News and they still flag me. I'm smart with what I post because I know how these liars operate, and they still flag me. They don't care. They're just straight up communists. Well, you can't say that. The CDC didn't say that. It is the CDC. What do you mean the CDC didn't say that? You're censoring a CDC article. These people are insane. But now what they're trying to do, besides all that censorship, the election fraud thing, to me, I talked about it a few times, but that to me just seemed like a honeypot trap. Trump running people in circles. You talk about it, they wipe your account out. What do you have to show for it? Nothing, because Powell and Giuliani didn't deliver. So it seemed like a trap, not because I didn't want to talk about it, but because they were barking more than they bit. And also, it's like, at the end of the day, you're not going to be able to change that. They can, and they didn't, and they weren't going to anyway. So point I'm getting to is, now they're trying to say that words cause violence. So if a right-wing person who went to the Capitol says, hey, guys, it's time to fight, they could say that they incited insurrection. What about the hundreds of Democrats who say it's time to fight? We're in war. What about every sports team ever that says, hey, guys, we got to fight tonight? They're not literally mean fighting. If you fight in the NBA, you get kicked out and suspended. They don't mean fight. It's just a word when you're playing sports, or it's like left versus right. Yeah, we got to win. Now rhetoric is going to be determined violent. That's what they're doing. So they're scrutinizing everybody on the right and saying, well, he did an event. It was peaceful, but he did an event before and he said something that sounded like, what they did. So that's their new trap, is saying that your speech causes violence. When they literally call to actions of violence, that's not a big deal to them. When they bail out a bunch of criminals and bail out a bunch of people who are rioting, That's not an incitement to violence. But if you say something and then somebody does something, even if you didn't know that who the person was or what they're doing, now you're the leader of the insurrection. These are the games that they're playing. I see right through them. And they're even trying to tie me to it, folks. This is insane. And I told people I didn't want to go. I was like, if you're going, good luck. I didn't know that people were going to do that. I thought people were just going to peacefully protest and just like, I don't know, just get upset or something. I didn't think people were going to run in the Capitol. So when people went, I was like, yeah, I don't want to go. I don't want to be there. I don't trust it. But, stay safe and stay peaceful. But then people did that. So now they're scrutinizing every single right-wing leader, be like, did he say this? Did he say it's such a sick game that they're playing. So that's the censorship game, to extend censorship. But overall, I'm going to answer some questions. And this is what they're doing. Kick the can down the road, whether it's a racially divisive event like the George Floyd riots, whether it's environmentalism that they're going to bring back via climate change, which is something that they can be even more reckless than COVID-19 because they've already done it. People like Al Gore, all these climate change experts, you could read AP, Associated Press, all these UN people, they've been misinterpreting and mispredicting for 50 years now. You could find a AP article, I believe it's from 1989, when they were saying that by early 2000s it was over. So they've been wrong constantly, and they're always going to be wrong because they don't understand how the earth works. I just got to be honest. They cover up certain things. So for instance, with the COVID, they say that if you look at the articles, they'll give you different reasons, but the flu has been drastically underreported, or, it's drastically underdiagnosed, whatever. Okay, there's not as much flu. So why is that? There could be multiple reasons, and we should be able to have an intellectual scientific discussion about it. But the news is trying to say that the reason that the flu disappeared, one of the main things that they're pushing is because now the vaccine just really worked this year. So we've had the flu vaccines for, 80 years now, since around I think Jonas Silk was involved in it. I'm not sure, check me on that one, but 1942. And this year it just really started kicking in, even though a couple of years ago we had the worst flu season, or one of the worst flu seasons in decades. That doesn't sound right to me, but am I allowed to question that? I don't think so. I think they're just going to say it. And anybody otherwise, is a conspiracy theorist or something. But I think, honestly, what I think happened was, I think there's more incentive, and just like social incentive, financial incentive, but more importantly, there's just testing everywhere. When I've been diagnosed with the flu, I've been diagnosed with the flu 4 times. I've never taken a flu test, not once. They give you a strep throat test for me, because I used to get strep throat a lot. Strep throat test, I don't have strep throat. It's negative, you have the flu. They diagnosed me with the flu. They've never given me a flu test. So now it's COVID. So they're just when they're unsure, they used to say the flu. Now they just say COVID. So I'm not saying COVID's not real. It is, but I think that's why the flu went down. I don't think they're even trying to diagnose anything as much as they are COVID. And I know that they've canceled even cancer screenings over COVID-19. They're going full-blown insane. People are dying over tuberculosis because they shut down and they switched how they did tuberculosis. And in some cases, the tuberculosis death count, they're reporting that it's hundreds of thousands of people are going to die from TB that weren't going to die from TB because of all the psychotic COVID testing. So I think I know why the flu cases are down. And I think I know why the tuberculosis cases, there's going to be deaths in it. I know because I read their own articles. So the point I'm getting to is they say stuff, and then if you disagree with them, they just cover up what it really is and don't allow you to say it. So with all this climate stuff, I've done a lot of research into climate change. I've done a lot of research into melting glaciers. And one thing I found fascinating that I've never heard something for is under some of the glaciers that are melting rapidly, there's active volcanoes. They reported this a few years ago, that they're finding all these active volcanoes under these melting glaciers. I find it fascinating. I'm thinking to myself, if I have an ice cube and I put a stove under the ice cube's going to melt because there's a heat source under it. And a volcano is one of the hottest heat sources on the planet. So yeah, that's, to me, that's a big part of the equation. Volcanoes, maybe you're finding dozens of volcanoes that are active. Okay, well, doesn't that matter? Aren't you going to take that into, if you thought that was melting for another reason and you found an active volcano under it, are you going to change the science? Because science is not always steady. Science changes, especially with the earth. We haven't even explored most of Earth and most of the ocean. So the more you learn, You put it in, right? Not with the climate scientists, not with the COVID scientists. The more you learn, the more they cover up, the more they make excuses. They won't even allow you to think that an active volcano has anything to do with the melting glacier, because you're not allowed to think that. If the Jacob Shavin Glacier, which they deem the world's fastest melting glacier, Google Jacob Shavin Glacier growing for 3 years. If it's the fastest melting glacier, it's growing for 3 years, but don't think why it's growing. It's just growing temporarily, and then it's going to melt really fast, and it's going to melt, and we're sure of it. You're not sure of crap, because you guys have had false predictions for decades. So they're just communists. They don't allow people to disagree with them because they're using environmentalism for communism. They're using COVID for communism. They're both real. Climate change is real. Environmentalism is real, but not how they say. They're just moving the goalposts and censoring anybody who uses real science to question them. And you should be allowed to question a prediction in 20 years because they have no clue what they're talking about. Anybody that's over the age of 50 knows they predicted that parts of Florida would be underwater decades ago. It never happened because they were never telling the truth. They predicted that these glaciers were going to be gone. It never happened because that's not how Earth works, and these people don't understand. So, of course, our output has an effect on it, no question. In pollution, I'm sure it even has an effect on a big scale. But when you're bringing into equation volcanoes in the sun, we don't have as much power as they think. No matter what we do, the sun, if you've ever done a real scientific experiment, they call the sun, I don't know if it would be a variable or I forget the scientific definition, but the sun is the heat source of the planet. So that's why in ancient cultures, they used to pray to the sun gods. People like the Mayans are like, thank you for life. On Hawaii, they have Pele, the volcano goddess. So it's like, thank you for allowing me to live because I understand I'm nothing compared to you. That's what the sun is. If the sun got cold, it doesn't matter what Fauci says, we're all going to freeze. If the sun got too hot, it doesn't matter what Fauci says, we're all going to burn. If the sun shoots solar flares and knocks out power grids, it doesn't really matter what we think. The sun is the variable or maybe the constant. I don't know the exact scientific definition, but that's something that is such a big part of the equation of the heat and the cold on our planet. It's not even funny, but they act like it has no part in it. It's like, no, it's just us. It's like, no, we could do better. We could stop polluting. We could do real, carbon science and figure out what's good, but they don't do that. These people are so dishonest. They'll tell you one day that you shouldn't gather in the streets, and then the next day they tell you that you should gather in the streets. I mean, did you see the article of my last video? It was Josh Peter from USA Today when the Lakers won because it's a liberal city with a liberal governor. He's just so about it. Oh, they're all wearing masks. It's mostly peaceful. I mean, they're just gathering. First of all, it wasn't mostly peaceful. They destroyed about 30 buildings. But anyway, it doesn't matter to Josh Peter because it's a Democrat state. And then when it's Florida, they're trying to make Ron DeSantis look bad, despite in deaths per capita, he's doing far better than New York and New Jersey. All of a sudden, these people are not wearing masks. They're not social distance. They're such frauds. This is the type of science they do. It's called hypocrisy. It's called they don't believe anything that they say. One day, Lori Lightfoot, a.k.a. I call her Bolshevik Beetlejuice because I find it very funny. And she's in the streets with dozens of people surrounded her. And the next day, she's saying, don't even go to Thanksgiving. Don't even hang out with a family member that you don't live with, indoor or outdoor. Okay. What's the science of that? It's called she's a hypocrite. They're just exploiting humanity for power, money, and control, and people buy into this crap. So it's the same thing with the climate stuff. It's real. Environmentalism is real. Climate change is real. The climate changes all the times. In some cases, the poles don't even seem to be constant. They seem to move more than people previously thought, but we're still learning about Earth. We haven't even explored most of the ocean. So the more we learn, the more we're supposed to intake, but they don't do that. They don't care. And if you say that, they try to censor you. So that's the game they're playing, folks. And with this impeachment, just another couple months to just kick the can down the road. And they have unlimited schemes to do this. And that's why people really have to figure out a way to tune out and really be productive, because it's like a magician with unlimited tricks. I got to find the exact Malcolm X quote, but one of my favorite quotes ever, I quoted it in my book. Actually, I do have it here because I'm writing a book. So this is Malcolm X. He said, the media is the most powerful entity on earth. They have the power to make the innocent guilty and the guilty innocent. And that's power because they control the minds of the masses. So these are the games they play. If you think it's going to end one day, it's going to end after the election. Anomaly. Trump's going to make it it's not mandatory. He's just doing Operation Warp Speed. You don't understand. It's never going to be mandatory. You don't understand the game that's being played. It's Lucy with the football. Every time you go to kick it, they're going to move it. And if you fool me once, shame on me. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me 10 times, you might be playing politics, folks, because people still haven't figured it out. So if you don't know what they're doing, it's never going to stop, because they don't need to tell the truth. There could be 1,000 murders in cities. You could have, innocent people, police officers, mothers, fathers, 3-year-old kids getting slaughtered by criminals, and they'll never report it. And then George Floyd happens, they'll report it for 5 months like it's the biggest thing that ever happened. And then 2 months later, they'll give full context of the footage. Even I was defending the guy because I was like, listen, what the police did was messed up. And then I saw the body cam footage, which I didn't see for 2 months. And the dude was so high. Listen, I've been around partiers. Look, I got this shirt on, folks. I'm calm in my elder years, but I know the boy knows how to party. Okay. I've been around people who are messed up. I've never seen somebody as messed up as George Floyd. I'm just going to be honest. And, they told him to sit down. He wouldn't sit down. He requested laying down on the street. Do I think that was the proper method? I have no idea. I'm not a police officer, but it definitely changes context from them just throwing him on the street to him freaking out for 20 minutes saying, put me on the street. Let me lay down. It's like, of course that changes the story a little bit. I don't know where you feel or where, but like, why didn't they give that when the thing first happened? It would give a lot more context. Like, oh man, I thought they just threw him on the ground. He wanted to lay on the ground because he was so high. That's a pretty big plot twist. I'm not saying it was right or wrong. I'm just saying we could have used that information in May and June or whatever, but they hide this stuff purposely. And then you have a girl, like a baby kid, that gets just completely slaughtered, and you'll never see it in the media. That's the type of power that they have. They only care if they can use it for their agenda. And their agenda is not pro-Black. Their agenda is to exploit Black America for money that they funnel and never give back to Black America, and then use it to destroy Black neighborhoods and use it to destroy the Black psyche. A lot of what they do through hip hop music, especially, I know as a hip hop artist, is destroying not only the Black psyche, but the American psyche. People come here with a certain mindset, and when they buy into culture, they lose that mindset. And what are they really doing? I mean, I call Marx another nickname that I'm proud of is a Marxist Cuban I came up with. So I don't call him Mark Cuban. I've been calling him Marxist Cuban for years. He's a wolf in sheep's clothing. He's likable. He does Shark Tank. He's an owner. He's Mr. Cool Guy. He's really just a Marxist sneak. I'm not really a fan of him, but in general, he stops playing the national anthem at his games. Okay. Thanks, Marxist Cuban. So no national anthem. Okay. So we're becoming less nationalistic, less American. Okay. That's fine. What else is happening? Joe Biden and Jen Psaki are allowing, transgender men and women to play sports. I guess it goes both ways. What is that really doing? I mean, listen, I don't care what you do. I don't know who you are. Only God knows, only you know. Who are you? Who are you meant to be? Who is your soul and spirit? I don't judge. I can't tell you I have my opinion, but at the end of the day, I don't know you, so I leave it to God. However, if you're born biologically male, you could crush women in sports, and that's what's going to happen. So I don't think it should even be a thing. If anything, eventually, if there's enough demand, just make your own league of transgenders. But I don't think there's ever going to be that big of a demand because I don't think people care that much. So what are you really doing? You're erasing women. You're erasing women's accomplishments in sports. You're destroying women. In some cases, obviously, I think it's messed up. But when it comes to the WNBA, I find it to be pretty funny in the sense of it'll make the WNBA watchable. And it's exactly like the movie Joanna Man, which was a joke movie 15 years ago that I watched when I was a kid. But whatever, you want to do that, that's what they're doing. So how does this benefit? Who is this benefiting? Women? Is this benefiting transgender? It's not benefiting anybody. It's just another thing to just erase the normal function of society. And this is all they do. At the end of the day, men and women procreate and make kids. If you don't do that, if people are gay or people are transgender, you're probably not going to make kids. You might figure out how to do it, but I'm not being mean. I'm just saying they're thinking big scale. You find some of the stuff they do when they get caught, they're spreading their seed DNA all over the place. They're thinking 100 years in the future. They're thinking Genghis Khan. They're thinking birth rates. They don't want you to talk about it, but they're thinking about it all the time and planning for 100 years in the future. Meanwhile, they're selling everybody this stuff that just destroys society, destroys women's sports, destroys nationalism in America. If you don't like your own country, you're going to lose everything. If you don't understand what liberty and freedom means, you're not going to protect it. And that's exactly what they're doing on all fronts. Everybody's distracted about the sports thing, about the race thing, about the impeachment thing. It's the perfect distraction as they just strip your liberty. Watch a debate of a politician from 20, 30, 40 years ago. The whole thing is about taxes. George Bush won on taxes alone. It's all about taxes because taxes are the government stealing your money, taking your money. So if they take 30% or 40% instead of 20%, depending how much you make, that's a couple $1,000s. And if you make not that much, that's a lot of money. If you make more, they're taking $10,000, $20,000. And if you don't make that, if you make that much, that's a lot of money. So that used to be everything. Everything was about economy. Everything was about taxes. Everything was about security. Now that doesn't even play a factor. Even war. Trump, regardless of what people thought, was way better at war in the sense of, I mean, he did some messed up stuff with sanctions, but otherwise, he stopped tension with Syria, stopped tension with North Korea. They don't even talk about Syria anymore. There's troops going to Syria and you won't even hear about it because they'll just cover it up. If you can't see it, you're not in Syria. How are you going to know if they don't report on it? So these are the games that they play. People used to care about that stuff 30 years ago. I don't want to go to war. I don't want my kids to die in the Middle East. I don't want to pay taxes. I don't want to lose my liberty. Now the whole debate is like, what's his name? Chris Wallace. Do you condemn white supremacy and militias, race, COVID? They didn't even talk about anything of substance the whole time. It was like Trump killed 400,000 people. What? Is Biden killing people every day? No, because that's not how it works. The president's not just slaughtering people, and wearing a mask doesn't mean you're not killing people. You have them calling to criminally charge, Mary Trump, criminally charge people, or shouldn't we criminally charge people who don't follow the mask mandate? Mary, New York and New Jersey, both are stricter. They have deaths per capita the highest. More people are dying deaths per capita in New York and New Jersey than Florida, and it's not even close. Florida hasn't even cracked the top 20 yet. And I made a video about this a year ago, and they censored it and said, well, you don't know it's going to happen. They're like, please, they want people to die in Florida so bad so they can point to it, but it's not really happening. They're not doing that bad in deaths per capita, and they never were. So it's such a joke. It's like they think they're saving lives by strapping masks to people's face. Then why are the deaths per capita so high in cities and states where they're doing that? Because it's just such a sick joke. But you guys get it. These are the games they're playing. And if people don't look at basic stuff, liberty, freedom, big brother government, how are they going to stop it? If you don't even talk about it, nobody cares. It's not even an issue. And that's what they're doing with impeachment, with racial tensions, even with this like LGBT push to just totally destroy women's sports, regardless of where you stand on the issue. I can't even fathom this stuff. It's crazy. I mean, I talked to a liberal friend a few years ago, and we like each other and he's super chill. And I mentioned that with the sports. I was like, listen, you know me, I don't care who you are, what you do. If you like, I'm not out here just pointing fingers left and right. But I told him, I was like, bro, you got to understand why it's not a good idea for them to play sports with women. Right. And he was like, I've never thought of that. I was like, you've never thought of that? He's like, man, yeah, but I feel bad. And I'm like, bro, how could you never think it? Like, this is like a new level of liberalism that doesn't make sense to me. It's like, if you just want these people to be left alone and treated nice, I get that. If you've never thought of the ramifications of them playing sports, what planet are you? Like, is this serious? Are these people for real? Are they just pretending to say this stuff so they don't have social backlash, or have they really never thought of that? I'm not really sure, but as days go on, it doesn't make more sense to me. But that's the game, folks. Constant distractions, constant circles. So whether you're left wing or right wing, try not to play along so much, because the more people play along, the less people get along. And when people get along, you see stuff like Wall Street, both parties really, sticking it to the elites. When people get along, you realize that Congress, from Mitch McConnell to Nancy Pelosi, these are not popular people. We're being duped, and what a convenient narrative for them. I mean, I can't help but think this was a setup. Obviously real people do bad stuff, and I get that. There's bad people on the left, there's bad people on the right, there's stupid people on the left, there's stupid people on the right. But I can't help that this is a setup, that Congress is massively unpopular. Nobody likes them. And all of a sudden they have this perfect narrative. If you question them, you want violence on them. No, I just don't like them. I don't want anybody to run in the Capitol or hurt anybody. I never asked for that. I never wanted that. I never would suggest that, because I would think 20 steps ahead and be like, one, that's a horrible idea. You're going to get arrested, but also you're going to set them up for more speech censorship and victim status. So now you can never peacefully question them. So what a convenient thing to happen to them, that as both parties are realizing that they're sending our money overseas and giving us nothing and causing inflation, now they have the perfect narrative to just surround themselves with military, shame you for questioning them for the next 4 years, and prosecute anybody who feels that way. I'm like, this can't be real. This can't be organic. Or Trump just set his own people up. I know it wasn't his fault that people went in, but I mean, as Lynn Wood's talking like he's talking, he's blaming Pence and bringing people to the Capitol. Either that was the dumbest move he's ever made, or he just set everybody up. I mean, you could figure out which one it is, because it was really stupid. And I said it was stupid and I didn't go, and I'm still getting blamed for it. But that's the show of today, folks. God bless you. God bless your family. God bless America. God bless the world. I'm probably going to stay for 10, 15 minutes or so, maybe more, maybe less. But I really like this live stream. It's pretty clean, I think. And, I'm going to keep it up and let it stay up for a while. So thank you for being here. I came a little more prepared today. And as always, I'm very grateful that people watch. Thank you for sharing the Pitbull video. Thank you guys for sharing my last video. I work very hard, perhaps harder than some, perhaps not as hard as some, but I think I'm one of the harder working content creators. And especially, I don't have a team. I don't have a whole people editing. I edit. This is my light. I bought this. I mean, it's not that expensive, but I'm just saying it takes a lot of work to do what I do. So thank you guys for supporting. And thank you to everybody on Patreon and Facebook supporter, because it's been tougher. I mean, I'm fine. It's not, I'm not like crying or struggling, but since Facebook demonetized and turned it back on, it's never been the same. And now they don't allow me to run ads for like the first 3 days. So the Pitbull video, it's like it didn't monetize until 3 or 4 days later. So thank you to everybody on Patreon and Facebook supporters. Without that, I wouldn't even be able to do this. And I'm very grateful. I'm trying to take advantage of, when I do have the money to do stuff, starting usaproductsonly.com with my friends. We're already driving revenue for people. Very rewarding. Check out that website. And, I just never stop working. So thank you guys so much. I appreciate the support, especially patreon.com/Rhetoric and Facebook supporters, because that's like a monthly thing that allows me, even if I don't do it, like if the numbers are really low, that's still there. And without that, I would not be able to work that hard. And they're making it harder in some ways to monetize. So thank you guys for that. Thank you, Frankfurt. Thank you, Don. I appreciate you. Kathy said, so glad to hear this. Thought I lost you for a while. I get notifications. Yeah, Facebook took away my reach for a couple months, and they could do it again. They're already threatening to do it again over the same post they already did it for, which they were wrong about. But if you want to know when my posts are coming, go to t.me/dreamer/chat. If you have Telegram, I think it's the easiest way. I think I have 10,000 people on there now. It just sends you a notification as if I texted you on Telegram, and I don't spam there. I'm not annoying, because I find it annoying if you do. Just once a day, usually, sometimes more, most of the time, even less than once a day. New video, going live, here's the video, just stuff like that to make it very simple for people to find my stuff. So t.me/dreamrarechat. It's in the bio, or it's in the description on both of these videos. Check it out. Someone said, is Me Too still a thing? Well, Me Too is a thing when it benefits powerful people and Democrats sometimes, but I think they pretty much just pick and choose when it matters. But that's a whole nother thing. It's like, it's a perversion of social justice. Like, there really are racial things that are going on. There really are women being beaten, abused, raped. These are real things. So that's why it's so evil when they do stuff like this, because certain elements of Me Too worked out, but a lot of it was basically telling women, it doesn't matter if you're right or wrong. It doesn't matter if it's true or false. It doesn't matter if you're exaggerating, you're manipulative. It doesn't matter if it really that's not a real message. There's women that are being raped and beaten. So if you accuse somebody and you're like, well, Aziz Ansari, I mean, I did it willingly, but now I feel bad about it. It's like, that's not a real, you're taking away from women who really need help. It's like calling everyone racist. I don't say this stuff because I think that race is a non-issue. I think it's a controversial thing that people should be able to talk about it honestly. But if you just say everything's racist, then nothing matters anymore. If everything's Me Too, then women who are actually being trafficked don't have a voice anymore. So these are perversions of social justice and perversions of feminism, not to help women, but to silence women. I mean, in some cases, just get demolished in sports. How's that helping? Danny said no one disavowed the Lincoln Project when the founder was caught. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people on the right wing did, but the left wing just kind of covered it up. I mean, the founder of the Lincoln Project, which was a right wing, but really just a neocon establishment, anti-Trump movement, the founder got caught doing really messed up stuff. Yeah, they don't, it's a joke, but good point. Keith Bridges said, you rock, bro. I'd love to do a positive vibe with Anomaly on the hook someday. Well, just hit me up. I mean, if you make good music, it's a possibility. And also, I haven't done features in a while. I used to do features, like people could pay me for a feature, but I'm very picky anyway, as far as like, I won't do it if I don't like the song, but you could try to hit me up about it. I'm going to read this real quick and then we'll move on. Barbara Sarver said, Me Too is a joke. Making a cat call equal to rape is extremely dangerous. And I say this as a rape victim myself. Well, God bless you, Barbara. And that's exactly the point I'm trying to make. Thank you for bringing it home, because it's like these things really happen. And, it's like there's bad men out there. There's men who are out of control. And then there's bad women. There's women who are manipulative. Women, can tend to be very dishonest. And, if you talk to two people and they broke up, it's like, hey, I broke up with him. I broke up with her. It's like one of you is lying. I'm not a judge, so I'm not trying to figure it out. But this idea that women can never lie or they can never be wrong, and then, equating things that aren't that. Yeah, no question. Thank you for the comment, because it really does. It really makes it harder for actual rape victims to get their voices heard. T Palo 34 said, I bought a hat day one. Your content's literally one of a kind. Look up how to run your own server for your own website. They can never shut you up then. Thank you, T Paulo. And I hope you enjoyed the hat. I'm glad you bought it on day one, because now we only have pink hats in. The white and black hats are sold out. It's crazy what this pandemic is doing. I'm going to have to eventually work with another company. I'm going to try a complete USA company, because I love the hats, but with the pandemic, it's just like the speed of what they're doing and like the quality, like everything's just declining in America. So it's like, I'm like, March, you guys can't get some more hats before March, whatever. Someone said I bought a pink hat and then bleached it. Did you really? Now that's a crafty move. You bought a pink hat and then bleached it white. That's dedication to get a white hat. I wish I could just sell them. If you really did that, that's pretty wild. Are the 2 Jack t-shirts ready? I got to work on them today. So I think the designs are ready, but the service I was using, they're just very slow with the shirts. I guess the pandemic now, like certain sizes are out and colors are out. The first couple months I did it, everything was smooth. Everything was there. Now it's like they're running out of shirts left and right. They're running out of hats. It's annoying. So I kind of took a break. It's not good financially, but I'm just getting annoyed with them. I'm going to use them for now, but I'm going to look for a different shirt distributor, because they're not as reliable as they once were. Did I see what Fran said about our woke culture? Yeah, I did. I did see that. Who's worse, Trudeau or Biden? Thanks. I think they're both pretty bad, honestly. I can't pick one. Someone said, do I go to a boxing gym? I don't go to a boxing gym, but I've been taking boxing lessons just with my friend. So we create the gym wherever we're at. I don't want to show off, but you get it. Someone said, if you were a good conservative, you would leave that hellish state. I mean, I don't know if that's really true. It's like, I don't think that makes you a better or worse conservative. It's really up to you. But I don't know. Eventually, there's going to be nowhere left to run to. People used to run from other countries to America, and now America is becoming like a slave state. So at the end of the day, like, the joke's going to be on you, because Texas is on its way of turning blue. Everybody's running to Texas, voting blue. All the big tech is going to pour money into Democrats there. So it's like, you guys think you're so tough in Texas. Just wait till you turn blue and then see if you leave or not. So eventually there's going to be nowhere left to run to. I agree. It's nice to have better laws and better government, and I'm thinking about it. But you're one election away from losing everything, and it'll be lost very quickly. I'm condoning it, bro. If your state turns blue, you're not going to be talking so tough, big guy. It's like, oh, you're condoning it. What if you live in Texas and Texas turns blue? Are you condoning it? No, it can happen that quickly. So you better. Someone said take creatine, you'll get jacked. No, I'm not. I want to be real jacked. Like I'm not. I mean, I don't. You see, look at that's real. That's real gulag muscle. I'm not showing off. I'm just saying no creatine. This is purely water, coffee, meat. I don't know, whatever I want to eat. I don't want to look that big. I want to look natural. I don't want creatine. Is creatine natural? I don't know. I don't need it. Someone said San Diego's already blue. Florida's one election away from being blue too. I think DeSantis will win again. He's doing a good job, but it's like, oh, leave a blue state. I'll leave when I want to leave. I mean, I know somebody that moved to Texas and she just got robbed. It's like, oh, I'm in Texas. I'm in a red area, and then just gets stuff stolen from her car. It's like bad things happen everywhere, folks. I mean, you can't, if you want to leave, that's fine. But to shame people, you're not a real conservative if you live in a blue state. Okay. What happens if your state turns blue? Are you going to, I hope you're going to move the next day. You better put your house up for sale and move that day. Someone said, pray for Syria, pray for America. We need your prayers too. All right. I'm going to stay for a couple more minutes. I'm going to go out. I had a good stream. I'm not trying to let people ruin it. Every time I've gone live recently, people ask the same questions and just say the same stuff. So yeah, I'm not going to take creatine. If I get big, it's going to be because I work out a lot. I don't need some substances. I'll pass. It's all good. I don't care. Someone said people take their old problems to a new state and create problems there. Yeah, I have this really good video that I'm going to show you guys. When I shared the USA Products Only videos of the week later, there's this old cartoon from like the 30s, 40s, or 50s, and it's about communism. It's like an anti-communist cartoon, and it's fantastic. It's like really good, and it kind of goes through how people think. Someone said Alex Jones said he wants to move from Austin today. Yeah, I don't know about that. Someone said, I heard Brennan say compare some libertarians to terrorists, to ISIS. Yeah, I saw that. He was talking about, right-wing people being like a terrorist group. And then he said, even some libertarians, people who like big brother government, people who like communism, people who want total control, they hate peaceful libertarians because they just want to be left alone. The peaceful libertarian just says, I don't want to be taxed to death. I want to just live my life and not have the government steal everything from me. So if you want to steal everything from people and you want to do big brother government, you look at the libertarian and say, man, that guy's really dangerous. But in reality, 99.9% of libertarians, they just literally want to be left alone. I have yet to meet a libertarian who's like crazy. I mean, there's some weirdos, but I'm just saying most libertarians I meet are like super calm and nice. Like, yeah, man, I just, I just listen to Jack Johnson and I just want to build a wooden house somewhere. It's like, oh, wow, that guy's really scary. Peace from Dublin. Shout out Ireland. Shout out Dublin. All right, I'm going to take off. I'm going to keep it shorter than an hour, 10 minutes. This way people watch it and they'll say, oh, that's not that long. I could watch it rather than like 2 hours. Especially because it was clean. I mean, sometimes I go on and people just annoy me. So most of the time it's great. I like answering questions, but recently I've heard the same 3 things over and over. And I don't want to feel like I'm in Groundhog Day. Sometimes during the pandemic, it was the same things. It was like anomaly. This is, and like, it was the same false argument on loop. I don't mind having a debate and discussion, but I'm not going to live in this looped world where it's like impeachment, anomaly, but it's not going to be mandatory. Anomaly, he's doing his best. I'm like, all right, let's nip that in the bud real quick because this is a fantastic live stream. I'm going to leave it up. Let's not sour it. God bless you guys. God bless your family. God bless America. God bless the world. I appreciate y'all. Stay happy, stay healthy, stay blessed. And a few things before I leave. The first thing is t.me/DreamRareChat. If you want to know about my new videos, regardless of social media, I posted at t.me/DreamRareChat. If you search Dream Rare Chat or Anomaly, spell it right, ANZOMALY, you should find it on Telegram. It's easy. And also I give a 10-minute heads up on the live streams. Before I go live, I'm kind of spontaneous with it. You know, you don't know when I'm going to be there because I don't really announce it. Anomaly, what's your schedule? I don't know. What's your schedule? Let's not get into specifics, but I just pop up and then I'm here. So if you want like a 10, 15 minute advance warning, I don't know if that was the right way to say it, but if you want a notification on when I'm going to go live before I go live to catch it right at the beginning, t.me/DreamRareChat, stayintouchwithme.com. The least annoying email list ever. It's so not annoying. I haven't used it in a month and a half and people get annoyed because I'm not annoying. They're like, can't you annoy me more? And I'm like, I don't like buy golf balls. I get that every day. Buy golf balls. I don't want to buy your golf balls. If I wanted to buy golf balls, I buy golf balls. I wouldn't even use but it's like, you get what I'm saying? Isn't it annoying when you get like daily emails? Like, dude, I bought golf balls one time and now you think I want them 50 times a month. It's like, just stop. So I don't want to be that type of email list. Stayintouchwithme.com. The least annoying email list. So not annoying that I just almost never use it, which is kind of stupid business-wise because I should use it more, but whatever. So that's what it is. Stayintouchwithme.com, t.me/DreamRareChat. Thank you to everybody on Patreon and Facebook. And I'll figure out more innovative ways. You know, I'm still working, I'm still grinding, but just to let y'all know, my goal of this next year is one of many is like finish my book, which I've been writing a lot. That's why I haven't been live as much. Get the book out, but also I want to, I almost forgot what I was going to say. Oh yeah, I want to not tie myself or put myself in so many directions that I like don't get anything done. So I want to keep the videos flowing, but also usaproductsonly.com is going to take more of my time. It's very rewarding. We're adding hundreds of small businesses, people that follow me. You guys have some cool stuff. We're adding it to the thing. Every time I add it, I'm getting emails. We just made 3 sales. We made 5 sales. You know, this, that. It's like, it's awesome. It's like we're getting sales. And I don't even have the site monetized yet. We're going to work on that later, but it's like for now, just building. So keeping that going, USA Products Only, the videos. I have a lot on my plate, so I want to make sure that I can do it all and not get overwhelmed. So that's what it is. Thank you to guys people supporting to get that done. And hopefully if some of your businesses, I'll give some a shout out real quick on usaproductsonly.com before I leave. You know, congratulations to, let's see who we got. Stealth Furniture. Congratulations. You guys have some cool stuff. We added you. Let me see who else we got. Congratulations to Pet Supplies. I think we just added this morning, Haas and Dukes. Congratulations. You guys, it look like a great story. Pet Revolution, Dog Decoys, Colorado. You know, people making collars for their dogs on Etsy. We're just throwing them up. We're tossing them up. Everybody got cool pet stuff. Now we got home goods. We're adding it. It's slow, but eventually we're going to have thousands of businesses. We're going to have the biggest database in the United States, hopefully, for USA Products Only. And it's not just going to be the big businesses. It's going to be your smaller businesses that people have never heard of that make better pet products and stuff. So check that out. You know, support some of the businesses. But as always, before I leave, check them out. You know, do your own research because we only know so much about these businesses. Sometimes I get there like an ex-girlfriend and I just really deep dive because I don't want to add crappy businesses to my website. But do your research. If you have questions, contact that business because we don't run these businesses. We're not involved in it. If you don't like the product, it's on you and it's on the business. So, you know, feel free to give them a call or an email about their products if you don't trust them. But, you know, do your research, but we did as well, and check them out. But, you know, I'll be supporting businesses on there and I hope some people do too. Thank you guys. Have a good one. I'll be back soon. I'm working on a huge video that I've been editing for a week about similar stuff that I talked to today. So that should be done somewhat soon. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you guys. Appreciate y'all. I'll be back very soon. Have a good day. Have a good Wednesday, Thursday, Friday into the weekend. You already know what it is. I'll probably be live before the end of the week.